Lisa from Been There, Got Out. I really hope we can get today's guest on. His name is Paul Roseberry, and he's a relationship coach and a comedian. And so we're going to talk about how the root of security is the ability to leave. Here he is. Oh my gosh, Paul, let's see if I could get you on here. We're going to be talking about, well, when you first got in touch with me, I kind of blew you off because I was like, healthy relationships, we're not dealing with that. I need help with toxic relationships. And then you were like, you didn't listen to me. I said, you're right, I didn't. So we actually met and had a conversation. I thought, actually, you have a lot to offer our community of all people dealing with very unhealthy relationship dynamics with their exes. And so, I love the fact that you're a comedian because we love humor in this very serious community. But we're going to be talking about something you said in our first meeting, how the root of security is the ability to leave. So before you even introduce yourself, why is confidence in general, not just for relationships, so essential? Why is it so important?
It's so important, and thank you so much for having me. So the reason confidence is so important is it is the root of self-awareness.
Yeah.
That's really what it is. And a lot of us glaze over that. We don't think about it. We think about things that we want or who we want to be, but we don't always think about who we are. And that's where it has to begin. You have to take a real look at yourself and realize what you have to work with. A lot of us discount it. We're the harshest enemies of our own selves in so many ways.
Yeah.
We will
So,
discount, we'll think that we're not worth anything. So we just focus on becoming worth something. And you've already made a mistake right there, you know?
yeah. So before you even go on, why don't you officially introduce yourself?
All right, great. So my name is Paul Roseberry. I am a relationship expert. I coach men and women on how to have successful relationships in all aspects, uh, primarily romantic. But really, what I talk about in my security method is I teach people how to build their confidence and their self awareness and to feel really great about themselves, which is critical. It's baseline. It may seem like the work we don't always want to do. It's kind of like going to the gym sometimes. You're like, yeah, I should, but I'm not gonna. No, you must. If you start building your own sense of value, then you'll realize it only makes sense. And where I get the term security method is I refer to security as the ability to protect that which has value. And so in order to protect something which has value, you have to have an awareness of something to protect, something valuable to protect. And once you have this mindset, then you're able to then approach relationships from the best perspective possible, which is interest based.
All right. Tell us what that means, interest based.
So interest based means we're not getting into a relationship out of need. And need, unfortunately, and many of the things that we'll talk about are, I don't want to say subconscious, it becomes too elusive, but things we don't intend. We don't get into a relationship thinking about it being need based.
Hmm.
But really, say if I work with a lot of guys, I work with men and women, but I work with a lot of guys and I love helping guys. So we'll kind of start with that perspective. So say if you're a guy and you say, hey, that's a beautiful woman. If she would go out with me, I would be so much cooler. I would walk taller. My friends would respect me. You know, my family would take me more seriously. If I were married, take looks out of it. Just if I were married, then my family would finally see me as an adult. You know, these are
Hmm.
things where you say, oh, I actually have multiple reasons for this, for wanting this to work. And some of them are not, they really shouldn't have anything to do with it. You may get into a relationship. My point is, a lot of relationships which I see are predicated on things that shouldn't have anything to do with the relationship. So people will stay in relationships where they shouldn't. And that's, I think, a lot of today's conversation, our common topic. People will
Yeah.
stay in relationships which are not healthy
Hmm.
because the relationship serves a purpose other than a relationship. You know,
Okay.
it's
What do you think? What do you think the relationship serves? I mean, I can imagine, but in your experience.
An avoidance of fear.
Mm.
That's what it is. Because what happens if you determine a relationship isn't working and you believe reasonably you've exhausted your options to improve it, which is critical. I do, and I think that's where originally we were going in different directions. But I think
Yeah.
there are things to consider there. But if you determine a relationship just can't work, uh, you may stay in it because you go, oh, well, if this doesn't work, I got to be single again. Oh my god, I have to start over. I have to
Mm.
find someone new. I'm not in the same shape I was in. I gotta buy new clothes. I gotta go on all these dates. It's expensive. I gotta go meet strangers. I'm afraid of new people.
Mhm.
Whatever number of reasons that you're avoiding fear, 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 fear. And you go, when I think of it that way, I can just do this. I can figure this out. I can just and it's horrible. That is not what you want in your life. Life is short. I'm
Mhm.
46. I like to think I'm pretty young in my mind, but I'm halfway there. I'm probably not going to see much past 92. And I'm seeing in my life, there are certain things you can't just let go. You
Yeah.
can't.
Yeah. So let's talk about what getting into a relationship for the right reasons is.
Okay, this is where it gets fun. So
Yeah.
the right reasons are the same reasons also to sort of the same self-analysis to determine if a current relationship is not working out. It's the same concept. What you do, take a moment, and I like to work on some exercises I call the fives. Now, the fives, this is anybody can do it, and it's so simple, and you can start doing it today, but you can also keep working on it for months. The fives are different areas of your life where you learn about you. For example, what are 5 things that make you excited about you? That's simple. Why are you fun? Why are you good company? Just
Hmm.
baseline, like,
What do you bring to the table?
thank you. Thank you. Because in a sense, all right, and we'll get right into it. I mean, really, this is a transaction. And make things. I don't like to take all the emotion out of things, but sometimes emotions can cloud a situation, and you do have
Mhm.
to look at the objective perspective, and to be able to say, all right, this is a transaction. This is exactly what this is. So I'm looking for a relationship, and again, that's another five, another set of fives. Write down 5 things that to you make for a healthy relationship. What is your goal relationship? And when I say fives, I mean, write down 55 things. Make the list long, keep it going. And it doesn't have to all be in the next 10 minutes. It's over the next week. Just start the list. I use the notes app in my phone, and I'll add as things go on. Oh, that's another thing, and then you kind of just start letting the top 5 kind of rise to the top. Now, we don't want to be
Give me some examples, Paul, because what I'm thinking is our audience often has not been in a healthy relationship. I know in my own situation, when I came out, I saw this thing called a healthy relationship wheel, and I was like, oh, I didn't even know that stuff existed.
well.
Like, seriously.
Totally understood. And the biggest reason I think people feel that way? Right at the root, they don't think they're worth what they really want.
Mhm.
That's why.
Yeah.
That's the only reason. It's the root. It's not the only. It's the root source of all. Basically, if you don't feel valuable, you're not gonna go. It's like house shopping. If you know you can't spend $1 million on a house, you're not going to go house shopping. You're not going to look at $1 million homes,
Mhm.
But
Yeah.
so likewise, if you don't think you're worthy of a great relationship, you're not even going to be thinking about what would be great, how it should be, how you'd want it to be. You don't even consider these things because you're more in this perspective of I don't bring a lot to the table. I've got to take what I can get.
Mm.
Beggars can't be choosers. I'm just lucky to be with anybody.
Well, also, our people have been conditioned by their prior partner that no one else is going to love you. Like, you're lucky you have me, and that's already pretty bad. And so that
Yeah,
really can impact someone's self-esteem.
of course.
Like,
And
this is
that's
the
what,
best you're going to get, and it's bad, but it's better than being alone, right?
and that's such a twisted technique of manipulation. And the reason somebody does that is because they don't want you to leave.
Right.
That's really what they're trying to say.
So
They're
you have
afraid
some
too.
value to them.
Of course, you got to,
Right.
yeah, you got to see through it, and that's why I say emotions cloud. But I've got a phrase I like to use. I'd rather be a whole half than half whole.
Mm-hmm.
Meaning, as a whole person, if I can bring myself to feel like a whole person, then I can go meet with another whole person, and we're two halves of a whole relationship. That's the ideal. But a lot of people, especially with what you were just talking about, you find people who feel individually broken.
Mm-hmm.
And so they find each other to lean on, kind of like a broken stool. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like neither side can stand on its own, but if we lean on each other, then I guess we can kind of get through this. And it's two broken people having neither having any idea how to have a healthy relationship or healthy self perspective. And so it's going to constantly be crossing paths,
Yeah.
literally. Like picture a lean-to, picture two sticks holding each other up. They're constantly crossing paths, causing friction. Whereas two people who are in alignment, think of like a three-legged race. If
Yeah.
we're both healthy, we can run. But if each of us has a broken leg, this
Yeah.
isn't going to go.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. This thing with the fives, I really like five things that are exciting about you or that make you fun. I
yeah,
remember when I met my partner, Chris, who's the male half of Been There Got Out, like 10 and a half plus years ago. I had never done a dating profile because I met my ex-husband when I was really young. So I missed that whole like era.
yeah.
And I did one for the first time, and I didn't realize that I was doing something monumental, and that was actually listing out qualities that I liked in another person. Stupidly, in my 40s, I had never actually thought about that. And so making that list was like mind blowing because I thought, wow, like a dry sense of humor, which is I thought was hard to find, but it wasn't. Like that's something that's really important to me. Somebody that is willing to move furniture around because I love going to tag sales and bringing stuff in and experimenting. And instead of someone who's very rigid and is like, stop moving things, like someone who's flexible, somebody who has really good social skills, someone who volunteers. Like that was on my list of a little bit more than five. But as I finished this list that I just came up with myself, I realized that my relationship of 20 years was nothing like what I actually valued in another person. And there was half my life at that time. And literally within 3 weeks, I met Chris.
That's
And
amazing.
I know, but it's almost like people talk about manifesting. I know you're California and I'm New York, so we're less woo woo, but
Yeah.
something
I'm East
happened.
Coast. I'm totally East Coast, but I'm from New Hampshire.
I know, I
I'm
know.
the
And you're
sticks and
coming back. You're
stones.
coming back. So
Oh yeah. I don't do the woo woo. That's why the stuff that I talk about. I want it to be rock solid. I want it to be bulletproof. I hammer it out like a samurai sword. You beat it down until it's strong. Flip it over. Do it again until it works every time. That's really what it is. I want it to work. This isn't The Secret. Where you just hope. You came up with a plan, and I love that you figured that out. And you were like, I can't believe it took me to 40. But here's the great thing: at least you figured it out.
yeah.
Most people don't. Relationships are so emotionally driven. We're like, oh, I feel an attraction to somebody. Let's see if this can work. That's it. That's it.
Yeah.
Nobody has a plan. It's the same reason people get upset. They don't teach you in school how to balance a checkbook. They don't teach you in school how to set up a 401k. They don't teach you in school how to buy a mortgage. And for those reasons, a lot of people suffer in those areas. A lot of people struggle.
Yeah.
They also don't teach you in school how to come up with a plan. You want to buy
Or
a
have
mini?
healthy relationships. We
I'm
get the
telling you,
opposite. We get pop culture, which values toxic relationships, and then we turn it into romance, which is like stalking behavior is romantic because oh, if someone's really jealous, it means they care about you. That's crazy.
I love it. I agree. I always get stuck on, and I'll hear many songs that say things like, nobody wants to see us together, but we're going to blah, blah. And it's like, wait, nobody wants to see you together? Like,
I know, like maybe there's a reason.
what do your friends see that you don't? Like, what are you avoiding? Like, you should ask them.
That would be a great like class or something to analyze like music, like pop music or current like pop culture in terms of the influences that we're getting, that we're taking in and thinking that this is acceptable and this is normal when
Yeah.
it's not.
Well, and also half the songs are getting back together songs. So people will just kind of smooth over, well, we had a fight. And a lot of people, not to get into all the different relationship styles and all, but people will see that as bonding. If that's how you grew up, you saw your parents fight, and then you see them get back together, and then they're like affectionate for the first time in 3 months. Then it's like, oh, that came after the fight. Well, I guess we fight, and then we have this close time together, and then that's a bond, and then we know each other more. So because we've been through something, ugh,
Yeah. I agree. I
throw
agree.
all
Yeah.
of that out. I
Yeah.
yeah, I really like to talk to people about really self promotion. And it sounds, again, it can sound cheesy, like self promotion. What are we, like, selling Amway or something over here? Like, what are we talking about? No, uh, getting excited about you. You have to become your own PR agency. You have to.
Mm.
Doesn't mean you become obnoxious and every person you see in the street, you go flagging them down and tell them about you. But you've got to be excited about, as you said, you nailed it. What do you bring to the table?
Yeah.
You.
And
Oh,
I was
sorry.
going to say that enthusiasm, like that's something I remember when Chris and I met for the first time, we looked at each other and we're like, no, not each other's type at all. Not love at
Really?
first sight. Oh yeah, we both very different styles. But we had already arranged to have lunch together. We had done a little writing back and forth. And I knew, like, I loved his writing voice. And so I knew we'd have a good conversation, but there was no chemistry at that time. So we sat at the table and we talked for the next 2.5 hours. And one thing that really drew me to him was his enthusiasm. He was so enthusiastic about everything. And it's
Yeah.
crazy because at some point, even though we were so different, I thought, this is really weird, but I'm looking at the male version of me. Like he almost knocked water over because he was waving his hands around and excited
Yeah.
about things. That was very attractive. Someone who was excited about life and specific things, because you pick up on another person's energy.
Well, and you said also, you spent 2.5 hours talking.
Mm-hmm.
People are terrified right now. People only communicate via text,
Oh my
and
God.
there's so much avoidance of communication when really communication, relationship success is so much of what I call short game.
Yeah.
It's the day to day. It's like when Happy Gilmore learned how to putt.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it was 20 years ago, 30
Yeah.
years ago. But it's not all like the long drive, if you will, of like how do you look and the initial flash. And like you said, it it wasn't there at first. And a lot of guys don't realize. Guys are I love helping guys to understand how to create a list of interest in somebody else, because that's where women have been successful for a very long time that men are not, is that women have a checklist. You're
Mm-hmm.
just naturally more protective in so many ways. Men will be like, oh, see that girl? I'm going to marry her one day. And you're like, what, who? The chick you've never met her?
Yeah, yeah, that's crazy. So I know we're getting a little bit low on time, Paul. Sorry, because we
Sure.
started a little bit late. But
Yeah, sorry.
one of the things I wanted to ask for is like, when is it great to leave? Like an unhealthy relationship. We talk about confidence and all that, but people are afraid of leaving because they think this is the best I'm ever going to get.
One word, feel. How's it feel? How does it feel? And if it doesn't feel right, then ask yourself where to go from there. Because from there, the very next step is going to be, am I able to leave? Because there's a reason people don't leave. They don't think they're able. And if it's finances, that is hard. That can be
Mm-hmm.
very hard. If you're in, like a financial situation, that can be very tough, but find a way. But if hopefully finances are not the issue. I'm not a financial guru, but if it doesn't feel right, Then start to ask yourself, what do I am I worthy of a good relationship, of a healthy relationship? Can I go out there and find it? Start to identify what makes you excited about you. What are 5 things you bring to a healthy relationship? And be real. And like I said, these lists, as you were saying, you started to make a list and it was more than 5. Make a list. Let it go for weeks. Keep building the list, but let the top priorities come to the top. Don't be totally rigid. So if somebody's like 4 out of 5, no way, unless they're like critical, maybe a religious or political, who knows. But anyway, build your 5s. What makes me excited about me? What do I bring to a relationship? Which are 2 different things. Relationship skills and just personal fun are 2 different things. What do I want from a relationship? And then and we'll squeeze it in. I call this flipping the script, because now what happens, say, take someone who's single, say a guy at a bar sees a girl, wants to walk up to her. He's initially nervous. Why? Because he thinks she can do better than him. That's why. That's why you're nervous, because you think that person, if you were them, you wouldn't pick you. That's why.
Wow.
So realize that's what you're doing. Now, instead, flip it. And what that is, you're creating an interview situation for yourself. You're putting yourself in a position to feel interviewed by this person, to put under a spotlight. You're already agreeing you're going to fail. So you're kind of wasting their time and yours. That's why you feel uncomfortable. But if you flip the script and you say, I've done the homework. I know what I'm worth. I know what I bring to the table. I know what I want. I know I'm going to get it. I'm going to get it. That's as close to The Secret as I get. That's as you decide. You're going to get it, right? It's a decision.
Yeah.
May not be today, may not be tomorrow. And you're going to have to meet a lot of people to get there.
Right.
Probably a handful, maybe only 3 weeks.
And pause right there. Like, that's the thing. It takes time, it takes effort, it takes practice, and you have to meet a lot of people to get there. It's not
Totally.
something that's like, oh, it didn't work. Like, I went on a couple of dates and forget it. Now I'm never going to date again.
Well, and here's where that gets fun, because that is off-putting to a lot of people. A lot of people are scared. They feel like they're being, microscope interviewed over and over and over. And that's why it's painful. And that's why people avoid it. But if you flip this interview, go the other way, you've established your value. You're excited about you. You know what you want. You know you're going to get it. Now you realize, hold on, I'm going to have to meet a lot of people, but I'm only going to end up with one. So I have to narrow down this pool of people I'm going to meet, which means I'm doing an interview of my own.
Mm-hmm.
Now you're the person who, every time you go up to meet somebody, you put yourself in an excellent social situation. You are going into meeting a stranger with an interest in learning more about them.
Right.
Which means, so here's what you're going to do. You're going to walk up and you're going to, instead of going up and start a conversation nervously, afraid of what they're going to expose of you that you don't like, instead, that's for later. Because, of course, you're going to share who you are with them. But you're going up to somebody. You're going to talk about their favorite topic. Everyone's favorite topic is themselves.
Yeah.
So you're going to go up with genuine curiosity about someone new and giving them the chance to talk about themselves. So far, so good for a stranger.
Mm-hmm.
When they answer, you asked for a reason. You genuinely want to know. So when they answer, you're going to listen. Now you're an even cooler stranger. You're talk about them and you listen. And because you're listening with intent to figure out, is this person someone I should spend more time with or offer to, you're going to respond in real time. Your conversation is going to make sense. You're going to be loose. You're going to be witty, because the worst case that happens here is you met someone new for a moment and it's not the best fit, and enjoy your life. I gotta go.
Yeah.
So,
but there's many more. There's so many more people to meet.
So many. But this person now says, wait a minute, you're the first guy tonight, or woman, whoever, came up to me, want to know about me, asked me genuine questions, listened when I answered, gave in-time responses. I don't know if I'm into you or not, but so far, this is pretty good. Who are you? Now they're going to want to know more about you, and then it can go back and now you've hit on all the key points somebody wants to be out of someone they're going to spend time with.
Yeah.
And that's what relationships are. That's why I say it's the short game. It's the like, hey, waking up in the morning, conversation during breakfast. Hey, after work, texting during the day, talking, communication. Yeah. So by flipping the script, you narrow down and you feel more in control. You feel much more in control. Because what you're doing, this is where it all came down to security. is that if someone's not a good fit, you've established for yourself, you have the ability to walk away. And you
Love
have
it.
to have that. You must. And to be clear, because that can sound very negative or dark, but if you've established you have the ability to walk away and you always keep that for yourself, you must. If you keep the ability to walk away, you may never have to. Because early on, you chose a partner who you felt, we both say, if it's not a good fit, why would either of us do this? Great.
Yeah.
But but we do it because we want to, and that's where it all started in the beginning, is a relationship out of interest. I'm with you
Right.
because
So
I like you,
you
not
want
because I
to,
need you, not because you have
exactly.
money, not because you make my family like me more, or because you're going to give us grandkids finally, or what, hey,
Yeah.
no.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I love it. So Paul, tell people how they could find you.
PaulRoseberry.com. It's a funny last name, Roseberry. Paul Roseberry. My email is paul@paulroseberry.com. That's my website. Check in. I do individual coaching. I love doing it. But also, if you just have a question, you just have a one-off, you just want to shoot me, run something by me, shoot me an email. I love to answer people's questions. I do this because I've been there. I grew up overweight and poor, and I stuttered, and I was vegetarian in the 80s, and I got picked on, and I mean, I've been through it all. I've done everything the wrong way at least 2 or 3 times, so I know how it feels. I know it takes years off your life, going down the wrong path, and also just the self-abuse, the way that your head turns and it's all you can think about. I love to help people minimize that. We've all got to feel it a little bit to know we were here. It can't all be puppies and sunrises, but let's keep it to a minimum. And that's what I like to help people do.
Oh my gosh. Thank you so much for coming on and sharing this. It's very enlightening and also entertaining at the same time.
Lisa, right back at you. Thank you so much for having me. And sorry about the tech issues.
No, it's okay.
I'm
It's
a relationship
okay.
guy. I'm not IT.
All right, let's definitely keep in touch.
Definitely. Thanks again, Lisa.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.